Hello, Mom? You were hospitalized for malnutrition. Weren't you eating properly? I've been sending you money.
Well, thank you always. But that 84 cents, the transaction fee would probably cost more, so don't worry about it.
84 cents? What do you mean?
Struggling with money, I had to cut down on food and utilities, eventually collapsing from malnutrition. I received a monthly transfer of 84 cents from my eldest son, Jason. I told him that it's the thought, not the amount that counts.
I've been sending you $1,500 every month, though.
Soon, one shocking truth after another was revealed from Jason's mouth. My name is Wendy. I'm turning 80 this year. I live alone in an old apartment. I lost my husband 5 years ago, and now I live alone in an old apartment. Having been a homemaker since getting married, my only income is my pension and my husband's survivor benefits. Life isn't easy, and I've always had to tighten my belt. Not only groceries, but I also save on utilities and water bills. I moved to a cheaper apartment to barely make ends meet. It's been snowing lightly since morning, but I haven't turned on the heat to save on electricity. Inside, I wear a down jacket and layer warm pants to fend off the cold. Because I use cold water for chores, my fingers are chapped and bleeding. My left hand even has frostbite, swollen and dark red. As I rub my numb fingertips while cleaning up after lunch, my daughter-in-law Jennifer stops by.
Hi, Mayo. I've brought this week's medicine. The cost is the usual $100.
Jennifer delivers medicine for me every week. My eldest son, Mike, is always looking out for me, but with his busy schedule as a pharmacist at a major hospital, it's his wife, Jennifer, who mainly takes care of me. Up until a few years ago, I used to go to the hospital for checkups with Jennifer, but recently she just brings the medications. She says it's more cost-effective this way. To be honest, these meds are quite a strain on my tight budget, but I was told I'd get sick if I stopped taking them, so I have them delivered every week.
Jennifer was a pharmacist at the same hospital as Mike when they first got married.
I pointed towards the dresser in the back of the room. Jennifer had helped me tidy up that area last week, and I haven't seen the box since. Inside the box, I've kept my hard-earned savings for many years.
A box of rice crackers? I have no idea about that. Maybe you've put it somewhere and forgot?
Could you not blame others for it? It seemed Jennifer was hurt by the suspicion. After collecting the money for the meds, she left hurriedly with a displeased look. Well, nothing I can do about that now. Today's the end of the month. Ever since I lost my husband 5 years ago, I've had no income other than my Social Security. Worried about me, John always sends me a little money every month. The bank statement from the ATM always reads, deposit 84 cents, just like usual. It's a small amount for support. Almost feels like the transaction fee might cost more, but it's the thought that counts. It doesn't help much with the bills, but I'm truly grateful. After leaving the post office, I headed to my regular local grocer. I visit so often that I've become quite familiar with the energetic shopkeeper, Mr. Wilson, even in his 60s. If I come close to closing time, he often offers me a discount on leftover or slightly damaged veggies. That's why I usually drop by in the evening. Today, I got some bruised turnips and radishes and a bit of wilted spinach. After thanking Mr. Wilson, I went home and immediately pickled the turnips and radishes using my homemade fermentation method. This pickling recipe, perfected through years of both passion and thriftiness, has a flavor and crunch that I'm quite proud of. For dinner, I enjoyed the simple yet tasty combination of steamed spinach and pickles. Lately, I've been feeling out of sorts. Every time I stand up, I get severely dizzy, and even slight movements leave me breathless with my heart racing. My nails and fingertips are in terrible shape. I've been cutting back on food expenses and not getting proper nutrition, so maybe my body's just weakening. I've had health issues before, but I brushed them off, thinking it was just age. However, recently the pain in my joints has become unbearable, and the dizziness is just too intense. I called up Jennifer, wondering if she could take me to the hospital.
The hospital? Just for some dizziness?
Well, I know I'm getting up in age, and maybe it's just that, but I'm a bit concerned. I haven't been to a doctor in years. Could you possibly take me?
Look,
I'm swamped too, and honestly, don't have the time. Brian has been working non-stop. I'm sorry, but can we maybe do it some other time? It's not super urgent after all. I kinda saw it coming, but Jennifer turned me down for a hospital visit. The nearest hospital is quite a distance from my house. Being broke, I can't even afford the transportation costs, let alone the doctor's fee.
Oh, and MIL, please don't contact Brian. He's in a critical phase at work. If there's anything, just reach out to me.
Jennifer made her point clear and abruptly hung up the phone. I sighed, taking a pill with a gulp of cold water. One day, while having my usual chit-chat with Mr. Wilson at my go-to grocery store, I was suddenly hit with intense dizziness. Unable to keep my balance with my cane, I quickly crouched down. Mr. Wilson rushed over, peering into my face. "Are you okay?" Even sitting, the dizziness didn't fade away easily.
Just got a little lightheaded. It's nothing. I'm fine.
Saying that, I tried to force myself to stand up. Suddenly, the world spun around and I passed out. When I came to, I was shocked to find myself in a hospital bed. Mr. Wilson was sitting beside me. Receiving an IV drip, I asked Mr. Wilson about what had happened. It seems, after I collapsed at the grocery store, Mr. Wilson had called an ambulance for me. I had slept through the night since being brought to the hospital, and the world outside the windows already bright. The doctor explained that I had severe anemia due to extreme malnutrition. Unbeknownst to me, my bones had become very fragile, and my condition seemed a lot worse than I thought. I was concerned about the medical bills and wanted to leave early, but the doctor said I needed to stay for a week.
Susan, haven't I always told you to eat properly? I was so shocked when you suddenly passed out.
Mr. Wilson had been concerned about my health for a while.
I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to worry you. But you see, I don't have much money.
Don't you have an eldest son? Isn't he a doctor or something? He should be making good money working in a hospital. Why don't you ask him for a little financial help?
He's a pharmacist, actually. He's been sending me money, just not much.
I said with an awkward smile, and then fell silent. While I do get a monthly allowance from Jacob, it's such a small amount that it barely helps. Most of my Social Security gets eaten up by the weekly medicine I buy for Amy. Mr. Wilson suggests I ask for more money, but having never earned much myself, I'm hesitant to take hard-earned money, even if it's from family. But now that I'm hospitalized, I'm really worried about the medical bills. Living paycheck to paycheck, I can't imagine affording high medical expenses. Plus, I'm worried about my precious fermented pickles. They'll go bad if I don't mix them every 3 days. After thanking Mr. Wilson as he said he had to head back to the store, I looked for my cell phone to call Amy. Checking the screen, I realized the battery had died. I don't remember Amy's number, but I do have Jacob's memorized since it's similar to my home number. Amy had told me not to contact Jacob, but given the circumstances, it seems unavoidable. I borrowed a phone from the hospital and called Jacob.
Hello?
Oh, thank goodness. It's been so long since we last spoke. Jacob, it's me, your mom. I'm sorry for calling during your work hours.
I was advised against it by Amy, but truth be told, I've been calling Jacob from time to time. I just wanted to hear his reassuring voice, but for some reason I could never get through to him. Maybe he's been too swamped with work to answer his phone. Anyway, I'm relieved I got through to him at such a crucial time.
I was wondering who it was. It's been a while since you've called, Mom. Where are you calling from?
I was hesitant to worry my eldest son, but I admitted that I was in the hospital. I quickly explained to a shocked Jacob how I ended up hospitalized.
Wait, malnutrition? Mom, weren't you eating properly? I've been sending money for that very reason.
Oh, thank you so much, always. It's the thought that counts. And I truly appreciate it.
But about the 84 cents, the transaction fees might end up being more, so don't fret too much.
84 cents? Fees? Wait, what do you mean?
Hearing the confusion in Jacob's voice, I expressed my gratitude for the monthly 84 cents he'd been sending, emphasizing it was the gesture, not the amount, that touched me. Jacob just listened silently.
I thought I was sending you more money?
Jacob finally managed to say, his voice strained.
Hold on a sec.
I'm concerned about the money too, but you said malnutrition? Mom, you should have been seeing a doctor every month, right? And getting medication. Hasn't the doctor mentioned anything?
Yes, I've been getting my meds. Sarah brings them to my house every week. But I haven't been to the doctor in years. Lately, I've had severe dizziness and palpitations, and I wanted to see a doctor, but Sarah always said I'm busy. Maybe next time.
Just the meds, every week.
Jacob, you there?
There was a muffled murmur from Jacob on the other end of the line. Is something bothering him?
Anyway, I hate to trouble you during your busy day, but with everything going on...
But with everything going on, could you bring some change of clothes and insurance cards the next time you're off? Oh, and could you mix the fermentation bed every 3 days?
All right, I have the keys to the house. I'll leave work early today and head over.
Don't worry about the hospital bills. I'll be there by evening. I found Jacob's unusually solemn demeanor puzzling, but I was grateful he'd be coming so soon.
Just make sure you wash your hands thoroughly before mixing the fermented pickles with your bare hands.
Mom, I'm here. How are you feeling? Are you okay?
By early afternoon, Jacob had already arrived. He seems to have left work early. While sorting out the change of clothes and personal items Jacob brought from home, he inquired in detail about recent events, things about the house, my health, the medication, and about Christine. It seems like a continuation of this morning's phone call. He also brought my bank book from home, and we looked through it together. Entries from 5 years ago, all reading deposit 84. Jacob glares at it with an intense, almost furious look. Ever since the phone call this morning, after a long while, something seems off about Jacob's demeanor. I wonder if something happened at work. I had been calling Jacob 2 or 3 times a month, but couldn't get through, and he never returned my calls. I assumed he was extremely busy. I feel bad for making him leave work early today because of this. When I casually brought it up and apologized, Jacob, to my surprise, immediately bombarded me with questions. Without wasting a moment, he hurriedly pulled out his smartphone and started fervently fiddling with it. What on earth has been going on with him? After staring at the screen for a while, Jacob sent a message to Christine from his phone. Grabbing his backpack, Jacob said, "I'll be out for a bit," and left the room. Feeling a sense of unease, I had no choice but to lie down on the bed alone. That evening, Jacob returned to the room. He put down his backpack and asked about my condition. After receiving an IV and having a good sleep in a warm bed for the first time in a while, I was feeling much better. As we chatted and nibbled on some fruit, Christine walked into the room.
Oh, Mill, how are you feeling? Jacob, you took off from work, huh?
With a forced smile, she approached and took a seat next to Jacob. Jacob, with his head down, didn't respond, tightly gripping my savings passbook in his hand. Before I could say anything, Jacob spoke up, his voice deeper than usual.
Christine, they say my mom's malnourished. You know why?
The air was thick with tension. Jacob turned to face Christine directly, glaring at her.
Mom's been struggling with money for ages.
She couldn't even afford proper groceries. It wasn't just food. She cut back on electricity and gas, scraping by year after year. When I went to her house today, despite it being dead of winter, there was no heater.
Whoa, hold on, Jacob. We're in a hospital. What's going on? It's not Christine's fault if there's no money.
I tried to calm my eldest son, hiding my frostbitten, swollen left hand. Ignoring me, Jacob continued with anger in his voice.
You remember the $1,500 you were supposed to send Mom every month, right? She's only been getting 84 cents. This has been going on for 5 years. Christine, what's going on?
Saying this, Jacob thrust my passbook towards Christine. Every page showed the number 84 cents. I couldn't believe my ears. I don't remember ever receiving $1,500. The money from Jacob was always just 84 cents month after month. Christine, cornered by a furious Jacob, avoided looking at the passbook and stayed silent.
That's not all.
I was giving you $200 every week for Mom's doctor visits and medication. You said you'd use any leftover money to buy her groceries and necessities, but all I found in her room were wilted vegetables. Her fridge was empty.
Enough with the noise. I didn't give her the medication properly.
What kind of medicine? Did you just prescribe something without a doctor's prescription?
All I found at Mom's place were plain vitamins. Did you just buy random vitamins from the drugstore you work at, put them in some fancy-looking bag, and give them to her? What have you done? I had no choice. I needed the money.
Christine yelled back at the furious Jacob despite being a private room. This is still a hospital.
While I was shocked by what the couple was discussing, I was also anxious.
You needed money. So you stole from Mom's savings?
Jacob then pulled out a crushed box from his backpack. On the lid, there's a drawing Jacob did when he was a kid. A portrait of my husband and me. It's the rice cracker box I've been searching for since last week. This left me gasping, completely taken aback.
No way, why?
When Mom said she lost it a week ago, I turned over every trash can at our house to look for it.
I didn't want to believe it, but did you really? Presented with undeniable evidence, Christine goes pale and is at a loss for words.
So what did you do with the $3,000 from inside this? And not just that, the $1,500 that was supposed to be transferred to Mom every month, hospital bills, and medicine costs.
Where did it all go?
Enough with the noise. There's no more money left.
Christine, trembling as she stared at the box, suddenly knocked over her chair to stand up, shouting back defiantly.
It's all your fault in the first place. You always neglected me, focusing only on your meal. Compared to you, Derek is way better.
Derek?
He's the most handsome host at the local clubs here. I've been supporting him.
And he's about to be #1. He told me he's saving all the money I gave him for our future. Both Jacob and I just stared at Christine, dumbfounded. It seems she found a new man and had been spending the money on him, but it's all a bit unclear. Apparently she needed a lot of money for that.
Christine, I get it. Let's divorce right here for your life with this Derek fellow.
Jacob calmly said, pulling out divorce papers and a pen from his backpack, placing them on the side table.
I never want to see your face again.
This is goodbye. Sign the divorce papers here, pack your stuff, and leave the house by tonight. I'm staying at the hospital tonight.
Wait, what? Don't be so rash all of a sudden.
Christine, do you even realize what you've done? Forging prescriptions and stealing money. If you don't want to divorce, we can take this to the police instead.
The once defiant Christine cowered under Jacob's stern gaze and soon started to cry, making excuses.
I had no choice. My part-time job's pay wasn't enough. I might have taken some money for bills and meds, but I do feel guilty. And look, neither you nor your MIL noticed for years. So you share some of the blame.
Damn it, Christine. Stop with the excuses. I don't know when you started, but you tampered with my phone, blocked my mom's number. Did you tell her not to contact me? Were you deliberately trying to isolate me from my mom to exploit money without getting caught?
With a loud thud, Jacob slammed his fist on the divorce papers on the table. Christine flinched in fear.
And Christine, we're done, but expect to be billed for all the money you took. If you don't repay, I'll involve the police. Just remember that.
Only then did Christine seem to truly grasp the gravity of her actions. After a moment of darting her eyes around, unable to muster a response, she tearfully signed the divorce papers. Christine left the hospital that evening and, following Jake's advice, fled her home like she was running from the law. In lieu of reporting her to the police, I made sure to bill Christine for all the money she'd siphoned. Between the money sent for 5 years since her husband's death, medications, and my savings, it was easily over $100,000, leaving me astounded. Later, Christine seemed to lose contact with the host club guy she'd spent so much on. She apparently caused a ruckus at his place and was banned. Bad news travels fast, and somehow her part-time job found out, leading to her termination. With no income and penniless, Christine couldn't afford an apartment. She resorted to staying in internet cafes for a while, but I've lost track of her since. I had pretty much given up on ever recovering the lost money with Christine gone missing. However, Christine's family, knowing the situation, decided to repay the debt in small amounts on her behalf. I might not get back all the money she took, but their gesture warmed my heart. After my discharge from the hospital, I decided to move in with Jake. We lived peacefully in the house Christine left, just the two of us, father and eldest son. Though I had faced hardships being drained by Christine in the past, now in our cozy home, I eat well and my health has improved. Mr. Miller, the grocer who always looked out for me, finally seems to have some peace of mind. I continue to make my specialty pickles even today. Before I just pickled as a hobby and to save money, but with Jake's help we started sharing tips on pickling and tasty recipes. Maybe it was the novelty of an 80-year-old content creator But my pickling channel gained huge popularity in a few years, now bringing in a surprisingly high income. I never worked a full-time job and believed I couldn't earn money, but look at me now, helping and serving others. More than the money, I'm filled with joy, knowing I bring happiness to others, and I live each day to the fullest.